by my hero. This is the logic of innovation. And this, you have to sweat this. Sweat it, you have to work this. Because what most people don't realize is that observation is a skill. Observation of the patterns of experience that condition how you see. All right? When I ask people normally in smaller work groups than this to explain to me what this is, they don't read, you don't focus on the words. You've got to focus on the lines what it is. And the key operating principle in innovation and creativity is observation, is watching. And as you're watching, you also then understand, oops, then I realize there's not watching. Right? Well, if there's watching to observe and not watching to observe, then there's skilled observation. When that is something that we just talked about before, it's something that you can train. So if I did this on just before Christmas. It's actually one of the outputs that came from the workshop we did for Bettina von Stam. Bettina von Stam sits on our advisory board alongside Shell and a number of other great corporations that work in the Innovation Center, so we're very privileged to have them there. Was to think about, okay, where do I sit on this scale then? Because what I begin to realize is that watching your processes of thinking. Okay, well that's the first thing to start thinking about. I can observe my process of thinking. Okay, so how do I train that? Well, you can train that. Okay, not only then my words. How do I speak? What is the product of when I speak? And then my actions become habits, become values, become my destiny. So if I don't watch this process, then who's running this process? I have news for you, it's called habit. And that habit's determined by your language, right, which is your patterns, by social convention and shared concepts. Right. It's up for grabs now as organizations, as you collaborate, to break those modes, to discover new ways of doing that. Anybody recognize the painter? Come on, you European guys. I'm always told I pronounce this wrongly, so I'm from the northeast of England. Well, half Scottish, so the Scottish say, but without the brain. Magritte. Anybody tell me what this painting means?
He's visioning the egg to the bird.
Thank you. Do you want to just throw the mic across that? That's so important. He's drawing it before he even sees. You know, he's ahead of the game. Right? That's expert beginner. Right? And Magritte never said he was a painter. He said, I'm a visual thinker. I want to upset you with my paintings. You can go and look at it. It's great. It always is upsetting for a lot of people. And the reason he said that was, I want you to move away from the absurd way of thinking that everything that you see is as it is. It's not as you choose it to be. Your choice is based on whether you observe or not. That's skilled unobservation. I love this photo. I feel like I'm in London again. A while ago anyway. So to bring this together, to bring it together and to be handing over to Richard is for you guys to understand that in this here, we see this used a lot in NGO work at this moment in time, this phrase. Anybody seen this before? You guys all seen this? Who hasn't seen this before? Put a hand up. Wow, you haven't seen that. This is about you making a difference. Now, the biggest single mistake people make in looking at this is they think it's about doing something. It's not about doing anything except learning to be. What's that process of learning to be? Is to learning to watch. Learning to watch comes back to what are the obstacles to learning to be? Well, we just picked on a few. Fear, uncertainty, doubt, being scared about doing something different, about making mistakes in front of people. I mean, for those people who get to stand up in the audience when your friends were doing it, I guarantee you, every time you stand up to do something, you get nervous. You think you're going to get it wrong, right? Well, I like what the CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi says, which he talks about leadership, you know, where leaders have to be right, and management is about doing the right thing. That model is over. Right? There is no right thing to do. There is a collective movement towards a dream. And the dream is a technical world. It's a new future. It's something that you collaborate to make that happen. So what you're beginning to looking at is the principle that your experience is organized by pre-established patterns. Those pre-established patterns are words. What you see, what you smell, what you taste is language. And you can change it by the use of observation. But it hurts because you've got to do it. It's not something that you do just like that. It requires training. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Richard, who's going to talk about setting that in the context of how you feel about the culture that you're involved in. Thank you very much.